Hello, everybody, and welcome here to the Sports Talk Network, and specifically Steve's Wrestling Ramble. I, of course, have my NFL show that I did earlier this week, and as I usually do after the Packer game today, I'll be live on my Instagram talking about that. But here we're talking WWE, and here we're talking about Survivor Series in celebration of 30 years of The Undertaker, and it's on song 30 years today exactly almost. The Undertaker debuting. So that's pretty much all of my life as I am 32 years old. So with The Undertaker and with the 30-year celebration, first I want to, of course, before we continue talking, let's welcome our guest here, enough.com, Justin. Justin, how are you doing this afternoon?
I'm good. How are you?
Good, good. In regards to Survivor Series, The Undertaker, all of them, everything, um, what is your excitement level, or what are you things that are you looking the most forward to in regards to this year's annual Survivor Series?
Survivor Series has always been one of my favorite gimmick pay-per-views, just because the elimination matches are always so much fun. So definitely the men's elimination match looks solid. The women's one, not so much. The lineups that they have put together are not great, I feel like. But yeah, the men's one, and then Asuka versus Sasha Banks should be one of the best matches on the show, if not the best match, I would say. So those are the two.
Yeah, I think for me, the match that I'm looking forward to the most out of all of them is probably with the tag team champions, SmackDown and
Yeah,
Raw.
that should be good too.
I mean, they're all going to be great in their own way, I'm sure, but that one is for me because I'm really big on the fans of the Street Profits, and of course, New Day's been good for a couple of years now, of course. So, for me personally, being a mark for the Street Profits and being a big fan of theirs, thinking, hoping, and believing that match will deliver above the rest. So I guess I would say that would be heading into would be my match of the night. The one that I think gonna outshine the rest, no matter how great the other ones are and whatever. That I think personally that one will, as Dolph Ziggler, like they steal a show, and be the best of the best. Excuse me, but let's start off in regards to predictions because the last thing we will talk about is the Undertaker. But first, with the actual matches, and we'll start off with the dual brand battle royal for excuse me for the kickoff show, which whether we'll find out. Last year they had a match on the kickoff that didn't count
Yeah,
because
that's right.
the end was such a sweep, but SmackDown got the win there. But anyways, with dual branded battle royal there, I guess we'll go with you from the names that you know for this battle royal. Um, what do you think? What do you think you see getting put over, getting the win?
I actually hadn't heard about the Battle Royal being added. Who's in it?
Yeah, that's what I was actually, excuse me, looking at here because I was hearing of some names, and if this will load, it will tell me. Sorry for the delay.
Just look it up here.
Yeah, I'm trying to look it up here on my laptop. Gosh darn it. Oh no, it is loaded. It just doesn't say the names. Okay, well, never mind. Maybe they have a list. Well, either way, if Big E's part of it, I'd probably go with Big E from SmackDown. But yeah, here on the WWE site, they don't have a list of names. So sorry about that. Let's see. All right. Well, great. Come on. Come on.
Sorry about that.
That's all right.
Yeah, it doesn't look like they've really announced anyone for it.
Yeah, because I checked on my phone because it has faster internet than my laptop, and all it says is about it being the battle of the best for SmackDown and Raw and dual branded.
Yeah,
So pretty much, I would assume they're just throwing the ones that aren't in matches
whoever's left.
that aren't part of that. And I was saying if Big E's there, I would have Big E from SmackDown get the win.
Yeah, I could see that happening.
But I wish they had a actual list.
Who ended up getting the fifth men's slot for SmackDown on the in the elimination match?
That was Otis.
Otis. Okay. um, yeah, I'd say Big E's as good a choice as anyone.
I can try to get back to the matches here. I guess we'll move on and go to the United States champion Bobby Lashley against the Intercontinental champion Sami Zayn. I'll just say that for me, I have Bobby Lashley U.S. champion, but for you, who do you see getting the win and why?
Yeah, I gotta say Bobby Lashley. I mean, just they haven't really built Zayn up as very strong, like since he turned heel. Yeah, he's the honky tonk man type Intercontinental champion, where he just kind of weasels out of losing or whatever. So yeah, I think it's probably going to be a pretty one sided match and fairly short.
All right, moving right ahead to the match that I was already deeming in the beginning of the show. Match of the night. We have the Raw Tag Team Champions, the New Day, versus the SmackDown Tag Team Champions, the Street Profits. And I'll let you go first. How do you see this match going, and who do you see getting the win?
I think they're crazy if they don't have the Street Profits win here because number one, the New Day doesn't need a win. They're fully established. They've been the top tag team for 5 years now or more. So I think now is a good time to have the Street Profits get a nice win over an established team. So that's what I would do.
That's what I do as well. I'm going with the Street Profits to get the win and get a win on the board for SmackDown side of things. And said it specifically be best for the Street Profits to get a win. New Day not needing it. Street Profits being able to, or WWE building the Street Profits even more and more in regards to a top tier level tag team in the WWE, let alone them being tag team champions of SmackDown. But overall, in the scheme of things of WWE, the Street Profits, in a sense, being made in that regard. Next up, Raw Women's Champion Asuka versus the SmackDown Women's Champion Sasha Banks. Well, man, who do you see getting the win here in this matchup?
I think it could go either way. This is probably the one that's hardest to predict, but I think Sasha probably just because like her character is hot right now. She's been feuding with Bayley. Asuka has kind of not been doing that much in terms of actually having a storyline. So I think Sasha probably gets like a roll-up win, like something non-decisive.
Yeah, I see that as well. Well, maybe not a roll up, but still either roll up or submission. But either way, I have Sasha Banks getting the win, as well as being Asuka there in that matchup. Then excuse me, move on to the 5-on-5 women's Survivor Series match. Of course, Raw versus SmackDown. Uh, we have for SmackDown Bianca Belair, Ruby Riott, Morgan, Natalia, and Bayley. Then for Raw, we have lovely Peyton Royce, Nia Jax, Baszler, Lana, and Sasha Bell as well, part of that match too. So who do you have Raw or SmackDown here for the women's 5-on-5 traditional Survivor Series match?
I got to go with SmackDown on that. As I said earlier, the lineup on the Raw side is pretty terrible. I mean, there's basically Shayna, and the rest is either like hasn't been built up, or it's Nia Jax who injures people all the time. And SmackDown, the breakout star of this match should be Bianca, because she's just got the it factor. She could be a really hot star if they push her right. So, yeah, I think she'll definitely be one of the survivors, if not the only survivor at the end.
I see in the end Bianca Belair and Bayley being the two survivors. I mean, not a solo survivor, but both of them. And for Raw, I agree with you. So I'm not saying I don't, but I do see, in regards to thinking in WWE's mind, in regards to things that have been happening for the last few weeks, this and that. I see Lana's lasting a lot longer Maybe, I don't know, maybe not. But that's just I have a feeling. And Peyton Royce. You see Peyton Royce having a showing, which then would be Shayna Baszler. You want to have that surprise thing, or not surprise, but you know what I mean, wow moment. Shayna Baszler being eliminated early or something. Maybe being eliminated early by Bianca. I don't know, or by Andy. I don't know. You something surprising. I guess you could say surprising.
Yeah.
But something like that where you have Baszler and Nia being eliminated early, and then from there, Lana and Peyton doing work for Team Raw, and you have Bailey and Bianca for SmackDown. So to be quite honest, that's how I would see if I guess if I was booking or how I would have it, and how I think WWE will. Because I am, as much as I'm high up in regards to Bianca Belair, and I've been wanting her to be in the main roster for a while, when she was, of course, still in NXT. I saw a lot in her, and I hope that it can stick, and her not being like those others from NXT that go to WWE or go to the WWE main roster and her nothing anymore. That it'll stick for Bianca Belair. But for Peyton Royce in a different scenario where now she's out on her own, no longer in a tag team, doing her own thing, I think she'd be able to make her mark during this match and WWE booking her in that way. And maybe for Lana, maybe not being like one of the last four, but still something of a showing, something of putting her over even a little bit. I think I see in the cards for her. So those four women I see from Raw and SmackDown being not surprised if they were the final four or of the final four or whatever in whatever sequence in whatever way. But in the end, I agree with you with SmackDown getting the win. But my difference is I have Bailey with Bianca being the sole survivors and getting the win for Team SmackDown there. Excuse me.
Yeah, I could see that being the result too.
Yeah, I just have, and even for me personally, and as much as I was talking about because of WWE mind thinking, like for me, I do enjoy Peyton Royce, and I always thought she was, um, you know, let alone on that tag team come to the creme, but overall like a future star, and that could have been for Zelina Vega, but things happen, so that's not gonna happen.
Yeah.
So but Peyton Royce, what are your thoughts honestly on Peyton Royce? Do you see something in her, or are you indifferent on her?
I mean, character-wise, she's definitely interesting. She's got charisma. She's a good talker. In ring, I don't really see it much. I mean, she was probably the standard of that team, but I didn't think much of that team.
Okay.
So
That's fine. Yeah, I mean, I understand that. I've heard that before in regards to her and ring work needs to be improved, and that's where I think that will happen. And because just with her raw ability and her talents in the other ways that you're talking about on the mic and otherwise, um, and other roles as well, that I think she'll be able to carry her for a little bit, and then as that's carrying her, she's learning and doing better actual in ring and that actually improving because you can't really hold on to one thing to carry you for your entire career. You gotta
right.
put it all together to be that total package. Otherwise, you won't go anywhere. But hopefully, hopefully that difference in judgment in regards to that. But as we move on to 5-on-5 men's Survivor Series elimination match, Raw versus SmackDown. Obviously, for Team SmackDown, we have Kevin Owens, Otis, Jey Uso, Seth Rollins, King Corbin, Baron Corbin. For Monday Night Raw, we got Braun Strowman, AJ Styles, Riddle, Sheamus, and Keith Lee. Keith Lee there for Raw. So Raw and SmackDown there. Those are the teams. I'll go first here.
Mm-hmm.
This one was the toughest one in regards to predicting. I could go either way. But I see Monday Night Raw getting the win. And I see Keith Lee being the sole survivor. So I'm going Raw with Keith Lee sole survivor. What say you?
I definitely think Raw will win. I think Keith Lee will survive. I could see him and AJ at the end. But yeah, I would definitely see Keith Lee as one of the winners, if not the only winner.
Right. Okay. Yeah, just kind of like our SmackDown one where you had a sole survivor. I had her with somebody else. But yeah, same either way. Raw getting the win for that one. Next one. the WWE champion Drew McIntyre, new WWE two-time champion Drew McIntyre, battling to face the Universal Champion Roman Reigns. I'm going with Drew for the win, for Raw to get the win, for Drew to get the win. And for anything, WWE champion over Universal champion, no matter who it is, WWE title of the Universal title, just in my basic thinking, overall, let alone the superstars. But making you Drew even stronger. It's not going to hurt Roman, so I'm going to go with Drew. What say you?
I'm going to go with Roman to get kind of some sort of tainted win. I do think it's so odd. Three of the last 4 years they've changed one of the champions like a week or two before the show, which I'm not sure why they put the belt on Orton at all to begin with. But this is definitely a more interesting match, Drew versus Roman, especially since their roles are reversed now from where they were a year and a half ago when they last feuded. But I'm going to go with Roman to get some kind of cheap win.
All right. In regards to The Undertaker, in regards to his segment, in regards to his 30 years, I guess any thoughts in regards to his history? I don't know if you've seen the specials on the W Network for Paul Bearer and Brothers of Destruction and all that, but in general, like your memories as a fan or your thoughts on The Undertaker, let alone your thoughts on how Survivor Series will do the farewell for The Undertaker.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm not sure what the format's going to be. I assume they'll show a lot of like video packages throughout the show, like his debut and just various things that he's done. And I'm skeptical that this will actually be his farewell, because there have been several times where it looked like that was going to happen and then it didn't. And like I wouldn't be surprised at all if they did something to set up a future match, but if it is the farewell, then I think it'll be a kind of nice, tasteful ceremony, if you want to call it that. And I'm assuming he'll come out and maybe say something, maybe not. But they'll definitely want to do the entrance one last time if it is the end for him. So
yeah, I certainly would hope so.
Yeah,
but yeah. I'm looking forward to however they're going to do it. I don't know if they're going to do it just of backstage thing, not even being their thing or whatever, right? Because you'd rather have this with actual fans there, but you're doing this now because it is on the 30 years to the date.
right.
So it's right in that regard. Then just to hold it off till you have fans, right? If he really is done, and this isn't going to set up a match, that he's really stepping away. So you do it when you have to. So I guess that's the only, bad part of it, right? No fans there to actually enjoy it, be there live in person.
Yeah, it does seem like a shame to not have a real audience for him to say goodbye to. But
it is the times, right?
It is the right time, yeah.
It is the right time, and it is the times of this COVID era that we're unable to do that. And either way, it's going to be great. I remember watching him when I was younger, during the Attitude Era and everything, and the Kane debut, and and all that moving forward. Paul Bearer, him being awesome as that character. I did see that special on the network, and I learned a little bit more about the man just as much as the character. And just the Undertaker career. I would say for me, where the streak should have ended should have been with the feud with Randy Orton. But that's just me. I think Randy should have been, that young pup to get the shine and get the win over him that year's WrestleMania, but it wasn't meant to be, I guess. But that's just where I am. Just as much as I'm, always keep talking about how Wade Barrett should have been WWE champion back when he was leading Nexus and feuding Cena. So kind of in that same vein. But overall, looking forward to it. Whether it's just going to be something like that, something like Ric Flair's goodbye, having people come down and whatever, and the whole roster. I don't know. They might do something fancy with the like they do for entrances. They turn off all the LEDs and have something, something like that for the Undertaker,
right?
Like a thank you message or whatever. I don't know, but something special. But either way, I'm obviously looking forward to that. Looking forward to whatever they do and however they do it. See the Undertaker one last time, if it is actually, like you said, going to be his last time. Because if it's not, I don't really know who's like either left or should he face at a WrestleMania that it won't be facing again. So I don't know. Like if you were thinking that there's going to be a another one last match, who would you have, or who do you think would be his opponent?
That's a good question. I was thinking more sort of because of the Super Showdown events that they've been doing. They're obviously
Oh,
not doing them now because of COVID, but that's like their show where they bring back all the old names because the fans over there are sort of more familiar with the older guys.
yeah,
Yeah, it's hard to say who I'd have him if he was going to have one more WrestleMania match. I'm not sure who you put him in there with. Maybe like Drew McIntyre or somebody like that.
Mhm.
I mean, I would say the only reason to give him one more WrestleMania match is to have him pass the torch to someone, which he did for Roman a few years ago, but then ended up not retiring. So yeah, I mean, like Drew would be a solid candidate, I would say.
yeah. I know other people were throwing out in regards to the Fiend, in regards to passing the torch to the Fiend character, the Fiend being like a new phenom, this and that.
Yeah, I
Um,
feel like the company is just so soured on him
I
because
agree, but I was just saying, in
it
regards
is a
to,
cool character, but like there's no real dimension to it. It's kind of a one note character, so you can't do very much with him
I was talking
beyond
to one of
beyond
my
that.
friends last night in regards to wrestling, and I was saying, and I was asking him, like, what would be like your, um, like a stance that you have that may be controversial to most fans. And for me, I shared, well, my example is I think Sasha Banks and The Fiend are vastly overrated.
I actually like Sasha a lot. I wouldn't say that she's overrated. I think she is one of their best women wrestlers. I would actually not be sad if she went to AEW and kind of helped prop up their women's division because their women's division
They need it.
needs a lot of help.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, and I know that she, at least last year, was not happy there. So if she decided to run out her contract and then jump, I'd be on board with that. But yeah, I think the Fiend is pretty overrated at this point, and
But,
just so limited by the
yeah.
character.
Yeah, I mean, even the other Bray Wyatt character, Bray Wyatt, in his promos, it kind of, for me, got old. At first it was
Yeah,
interesting, and then it was just like the same kind of the same rhetoric in a different way or a different wording, in each promo. Every pay per view, and then he loses. So he says all
well,
this
yeah,
stuff.
they really dropped the ball in actually building him up. Like having him lose to John Cena at WrestleMania was a terrible mistake. That was the time to push him, and then a year later he jobbed out to the Undertaker, and it was like, well, that would have been a good time for Taker to lose
True.
if he hadn't already lost to Brock the year before.
So for me, as I shared, my two things, in regards to controversial, whatever. What would be for you like anything that you would think would be controversial to others of your stance or your opinion on either a match, a wrestler, a storyline, or whatever that may be different from the norm or different from the masses.
Um, that's a good question. I mean, I'm not a fan of bringing back all the old guys the way they do. I think it's really counterproductive, and you're training your audience to not care about the current stars by treating all the older guys as the real attractions and having them beat the current stars all the time. So that's probably my biggest thing. Is
Yeah, I respect that. Even from me that enjoys that. Because I'm always nostalgia, always attitude era, always older guys. That generation being the best, but still, you know, they do it too much.
yeah,
Like there's a time and place for it. So not always having to do that all the time. So, um, but either way, for those that are watching, you guys are welcome, more than welcome to share your predictions in the comment section below. And of course, if you want, you're welcome to follow me on social media. You already know where I am. But let's throw it over to our guest, Justin, to let him put himself over and share everywhere where you can find him, social media and otherwise. It'd be great stuff. And go ahead, sorry.
oh, sorry. Yeah, we're at enough.com, and we cover wrestling, we cover movies, music, and we also have a YouTube show called Parents Night In, where we review and watch movies and drink some beers and just sort of talk about film. So check that out.
quick things to share, I guess, since you were talking about movies and the other thing. For me, my top two movies being Godfather 2
Nice.
and 13 Going on 30. I am into rom coms, so I am.
Those are two
I
very
always
different
used to
films.
say I am a straight guy that enjoys that movie. I don't mind watching it 100 times, but those two being in regards to favorite movies. I'm sorry, what were you saying? The other thing you guys cover?
No, we just we drink beer and we'll watch a movie and then we could kind of edit it down to 35, 45 minutes of,
That's
of,
cool.
of the best stuff. So
Definitely. But yeah, everybody check that out. Obviously, check them out on Twitter. There's great content
yeah,
there.
we're on Twitter at enougha.com, spelled out DOTCOM.
So it should be easy to search that there on Twitter, or just check me out. Check my Twitter at the Ramble WWE. I have a lot of retweets there, so you definitely can just find him there with the retweets. But either way, I thank you for being here. We're a
Thanks for having
solid
me.
26 minutes. Hope to have you again, and enjoy your Sunday.
Thanks, you too.
Enjoy Survivor Series, and hopefully it goes well. The hitch. Hopefully it goes well, and I'll speak with you again.
All right.
And everybody
Thanks.
else, you're welcome. And everybody else, like I said, you're welcome to follow me on Twitter at the Ramble underscore WWE. You can find me also on Instagram at PackersMania underscore 06 for my football stuff. Facebook, I have two fan pages, one for my NFL podcast and for my wrestling podcast. And I thank you to those that watch each and every week, for those that are subscribed, to all of you, 312 of you. Doing so, hopefully we can get that to grow word of mouth and otherwise. I appreciate that. I have seen some of you reach out to me in DMs in regards to asking about it or wanting me to do some videos about some things. I will when I can. I'm busy with life and otherwise, but I will. I know one of them is in regards to Dean Ambrose, formerly Dean Ambrose, and talking about his WB career. So I will get to that video too. But all in all, hope you all have a great rest of your day. Enjoy your week ahead. And for those in America celebrating Thanksgiving, have a happy and blessed Thanksgiving. And above all else, as always, take care.